What if you don't like the colors and some of the other presentation details the Bootstrap provides out of the box? Many people don't want their Bootstrap site to look like every other Bootstrap site on the internet, so you probably do want to customize a bit. And there's two general strategies here. First, do you want to change everything, or do you just need a few tweaks? If you want to customize just about everything, I'd suggest you go out and you do a search first for some Bootstrap themes, because there are many sites out there that are offering custom themes for Bootstrap, and chances are you might find one that is close enough to what you want, and then you just need to tweak a few things here and there. For example, Bootswatch is one site I've used in the past. When you would come to a site offering themes, you do want to make sure that the themes are for Bootstrap version 3, because we are in a period of transition between version 2 and 3, and I'm sure there are some sites out there with themes that haven't been updated to version 3. Not that there's a huge difference, but there are differences and some breaking changes, particularly when it comes to the grid layout. But once you find a theme, by browsing through them, there will typically be a download button. And what you'll want to do is download a new bootstrap.css file. So I would download this file, I would copy it into my project and overwrite my existing Bootstrap file. And I only need to do this for the CSS. I don't need a JavaScript file because the JavaScript remains the same. Just the CSS file is needed because that's the file with all the colors and padding measurements inside. Now there are some themes available through NuGet in Visual Studio 2. Those are easy to install, but it's hard to get a feel for what the theme looks like just by looking at a description in the NuGet dialog. At Bootswatch, you can also download a less file. Bootstrap is actually authored with less, and we'll talk about less later in the course when we talk about Visual Studio and the web extensions for Visual Studio. But let's say that you now have a theme installed, and you're working with the original file, and you just want to make a few small changes. For instance, I want to change the color of the danger button. This is where I usually use the developer tools in the browser because it's often easier to find exactly what I want to change by looking through the style tools and the developer tools. That's easier than sometimes going into the Bootstrap CSS itself. But it all depends on what you want to do. What I would suggest is that you don't change the Bootstrap CSS file itself unless you need to make a lot of changes, because it's easier to upgrade if you just override some of the styles using your own style sheet and not modify the original. So if I wanted to change this button, I would look for something like the button danger class. That's the one that I want to change. Maybe I will just copy this out of the developer tools, bring it over into my site.css, come down to the bottom of this file perhaps, paste it in. And what do I want to change? Well, maybe I want to change the background color to just be a bright red, sort of a bright obnoxious red, and change the border color to be green. So it might look a little bit weird. The color I'm not going to change, so I can take that out of here. This style now will effectively override what's in the Bootstrap style sheet because site.css is included in the bundle after bootstrap.css. And now if I refresh, I can see I have created a pretty hideous button.